Hello crocheters, welcome to Crazy Cool Crochet. This is Sylvia, and in this project I'm bringing you my version of the Oprah solid gold short sweater as seen on Jimmy Kimmel, which she wore in about March of 2024. I'm going to leave a photo of her in the sweater. So for this sweater, I used a Yarn Bee Soft Secret. It's a number 4, medium weight, and it has a little bit of a sheen to it, which I love because it really elevates the entire look. And the color is honey. I'm using 2 crochet hooks, H or 5mm and G or 4.25mm. The smaller one is for the cuffs. You'll need scissors, a yarn needle, and you may or may not want to use a measuring tape. You will get all the information you need to be able to create this sweater. But I do encourage you to go to my Etsy shop for the written pattern, particularly if you're a longtime watcher or if you really love this pattern or this design and you want to support my efforts. I would so much appreciate if you would go over to my Etsy shop and grab up the pattern. So that would be at crazycoolcrochet.us.etsy.com. I will leave a link in the comments below. So the first comment should be the link directly to the pattern. Before we get started, I want to show you what we are working towards, how we are working this pattern. So this is the front panel or the back panel. We need 2 identical panels, one for the front, one for the back. And we are working it this way, primarily with back loop only single crochets to give you the ribbing look or the knit look. So we work it this way. Yes, it's supposed to look like that, a little bit roughly here. I'll explain why. When we go to seam and to wear, then we will turn it this way. So that will be the neck, and these will be the shoulder and the arms, some of the arm. So you'll see on Oprah's actual sweater, she has a little tiny bit of a scallop on the bottom. So I decided to go with a little bit of a cheat to make it faster and easier, because that's the way I like to work. So as you can see here, we've got a little bit of a faux scallop going on, and that was created by doing the first and last stitch of every row as a regular single crochet. Every stitch thereafter, all of these stitches are back loop only single crochets. First and last is regular single crochet, and we do want to work them loosely. Just that first and last. I will be working from a swatch. You will work for a size small. By the way, this does come in various sizes. You will find more detail as we go along. I will leave the number of stitches. You will also, by the way, find more detail regarding how much yarn is used in the description box below the video. You have to open that up manually. Look for where it says more or show more, or you might see 3 little dots. Do what you need to do to open up that space below the video. You'll get more detail there. So for the size small, we start with a chain of 65. You're going to single crochet in the second chain from the hook, single crochet all the way across, so you end up with 64 single crochets. Then you chain 1 and turn. So remember I said the first stitch and the last stitch are going to be regular single crochets. So you go under that 2 strand chain that forms at the top. Work loosely for just that first and last regular single crochet. Now in each chain across, or each single crochet, you're going to work a back loop only single crochet, so that means you enter the hook in the center of that chain or the center of that V and do your single crochet and repeat in the next and in each stitch across. So you can see how that's forming a little bit of a ridge. Continue that all the way across to the last stitch. Now make sure you are counting your stitches so you know when you get to the last one, so you don't miss it, because it will look like a little nub at the end. And you want to go under the 2 strands again. You see that right there? And do a regular single crochet loosely. Chain 1, turn, and now again, and this will be a repeat row right here. Single crochet in that first space, regular single crochet loosely, and then go right into the next for a back loop only single crochet. And back loop only in each stitch until you get to the last. And in that last one you will do a regular single crochet loosely, chain 1, turn, and repeat. So you will repeat that row until you have completed 135 rows. When this is turned around, you will notice that this is quite wide. So again, the design is supposed to be short and wide. So this is the sleeve over here. The panel is a little bit narrow here and long. So for the sleeves, we are going to start with a chain of 39, and we're going to work it only a little bit differently from the main panel, the front and the back, because we're not starting the first and the last differently. Every stitch will be a back loop only single crochet, starting with the first and finishing with the last back loop only single crochets all the way. And this you will work with a chain of 39 for 38 back loop only single crochets on every row, and work for 119 rows. Then we'll do another panel for the cuffs. This one is worked identical to the sleeve, where you're doing back loop only single crochet on every stitch. You will start with a chain of 33 and work for 47 rows. Now we are going to start seaming the shoulders. So the first thing you want to do is put the panels front and back, right sides together, wrong sides are facing out. Then you want to determine the center of the panels for the neck opening. I'm using 8 inches wide for myself. You can adjust that however you want. And then I place stitch markers at the beginning and the end of the opening. So to seam the shoulders, I use a yarn needle, length of yarn. I attach it at the corner. I knot the yarn, and then I start seaming across using a whip stitch. So all I do is go from behind, try to get 2 strands on each panel, and then just bring it around. Okay, so you're going around and around. around the back to the front, pull it through, and that's all you do until you reach your stitch marker. And then you bring the yarn through a couple, 3 or 4 stitches and tie it off. And then repeat for the other side. Now we're going to attach the sleeve to the body. There is the shoulder seam. Right over here is the neck opening. You want to find the center of that long sleeve panel and then center it up with the shoulder seam. Use a stitch marker so that you know where your seam line should be going. Now, you may need to stretch this just a tad as you are seaming. You use the same whip stitch as you did for the shoulder, because we only want a little bit unseamed, not seamed, at the bottom. Okay, so this is the hem. And you want to leave maybe an inch or so unworked. And then start your seaming. And then do the same when you get to the other side. Make sure that you've got about the same amount. Well, make sure you do have the same amount unworked at the end there. Okay now, boys and girls, moms and dads, this is where things get a little bit wonky. So strap in. I'm kidding. Okay, it's not that bad. This is just a very, very unusual way of attaching the cuff to the sleeve. Okay, so there's the cuff, the sleeve, the body. Now, what we're going to do is attach at the corner. Of course, this is all wrong sides up. So we attach at the corner with the yarn needle and a length of yarn again. This time, however, we are not going to seam as we have been doing. All right, so what we're going to do is just attach just that one corner. Oh, and make sure that you've got the ribbing lined up the same way. Okay, so it's all going like that, horizontally. Okay, now what I am trying to achieve here is gathering the main part of the sleeve here. So we're trying to gather this, but keep the cuff straight or flat. Okay, so that got a little bit tricky, but when I figured it out, it was just eureka! Okay, this is how we're going to do it. So we're going to insert the yarn needle near the edge. Try to grab 2 strands always, so you get some nice stability. But we're going to be going in and out, in and out, or front and back, however you want to look at it. And we're going to do this. I have to be careful with those tails because they're going to get in the way. Yep. Okay, so we're trying to gather this edge. So we're just going to keep going in and out, and in a minute we're going to grab the cuff. So you're only going through the one panel. See? Just the one panel. See how it's gathering now? That's what we want. Then you're going to go back and go through that cuff. Again, grab a couple of strands. Now we're going to attach. And continue with the main panel, gathering. In and out, in and out, in and out. Now go back close to your last stitch on that cuff. And attach it. And now go back to the main panel and continue the gathering. So now go back and grab again right next to that last stitch that you did on the cuff. And attach it like that. And then continue your gathering. So keep doing this. Okay, I have turned the panel the other way, just so it might be easier to see and understand what I'm doing. Okay, so now that we're at the end, toward the end, you might need to shorten up how many in and outs you do before you seam into the cuff. So this is where you really need to play it by ear. So I've been doing in and out, about 4 in and outs, maybe even 5 towards the beginning, and then attaching it to the cuff. Then in and out like 4 times, attached to the cuff. In and out, in and out. Now I might have to do like maybe 2 or 3. So over here I started doing like 3 in and out, and then attaching to the cuff. So play that by ear. So this really is one reason I would not call this a beginner project. So you kind of have to figure out on your own, more or less, how much of the in and outs and how much of the attaching on the cuff you need to do so that it comes out where you can attach the corners. Oh, there we are. Okay, so we met our corner there. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you guys. This is the first time I've ever done this. And lo and behold, it worked. Now before I cut it off, I'm going to position it just to double check that this is actually what I want. Okay, so we will be folding it. Now this is just so I can see the right side, how it's looking. Oh yes! This is what I wanted. Oh my goodness, I cannot tell you how difficult it was for me to figure that out. It has taken me days. Oh my goodness, okay. Yeah, people call me an expert. I'm not an expert. I'm just, a designer, plays around with different ideas. There we go. Oh my goodness, I am loving this so far. Okay, so then the next thing to do, of course, flip it back wrong sides, and then we're going to seam that little bit on the bottom here, and then under the sleeve and under the cuff. And this time we will use the slip stitching method. To finish this off, I did 4 rows of single crochet at the neckline. So all I did was attach the yarn in the seam line with a chain, and then I single crochet it into approximately every space. Then when you come back where you started, slip stitch to join, chain 1, do not turn. If you want it to look the same here, do not turn. Then just do another row of single crochet, regular single crochet, not back loop only. Again, slip stitch, chain 1, and do that for a total of 4 rows. Or if you want to go higher up on the neck, keep going. I decided not to do a full-on turtleneck the way Oprah's original sweater shows. I strive to keep things as simple as possible, so I decided to just go with 4 rows of single crochet. Again, if you want to go higher up, you can just keep going with those single crochets. And that is it. We are done. And of course, this is one of those projects that looks really goofy on the table. I do hope that you enjoy this. I absolutely fell in love with Oprah's gold sweater, and I was instantly inspired to do something similar, and this is what turned out to be my interpretation. So if you like it, please give me a thumbs up down below the video. Add a comment. These things are super helpful to the channel, and it lets YouTube know that you guys are interacting with Crazy Cool Crochet and you like what I'm presenting, and they will go ahead and push it out to more people, which again is super helpful to me. So thank you again. I hope you come back for the next one. Don't forget to please head over to my Etsy shop for the written pattern, Crazy Cool Crochet US.etsy.com. We'll see you on the next one.